Hello and welcome to my Q&A. This video is going to be totally unscripted. There will probably be edits though, just because I'm sure at some point in the 70-something questions that I'm answering here, I'll either say something stupid or just have to think about an answer, but yeah, for the most part, it's just going to be a casual conversation between me and you about music and whatever else you wanted to ask me. And since there are, many questions here, I'm going to try to blow through them pretty fast. I'll go into as much detail as I see necessary, or if I have more to say on a question, then I may go off on a tangent or two. But for the most part, I'm not going to go super in-depth to everything that I'm talking about. So yeah, let's just get right into it. I have everything listed, like all of the questions, on a Google document. They're sort of in a logical order, so that if two questions either ask the exact same thing or deal in a similar thing, I can just answer both at the same time. But yeah, so let's just get started. So 10 of you guys asked for hot takes, right? What's your absolute hottest music take? I'm talking scorching hot. Your most controversial musical hot take, one critically acclaimed album you completely dislike from any decade, what album or artist you consider overrated or underappreciated, are there any artists you can see the praise for but not connect with at all, what's your hottest music-related take, any critically acclaimed albums you dislike, any unpopular albums you love. So I have prepared a list for this one just so I don't forget anything, and it'll cover the grounds for all of these questions. But yeah, so I hope you enjoy the hot take section of this video. Without further ado, Vince Staples has yet to drop above a 6 out of 10. Spirit They're Gone is the best Animal Collective album. Sweetener by Ariana Grande was actually really good. Depression Chair is easily Beach House's best and most overlooked albums, both for the compositions and lyrical themes. Abyss by Chelsea Wolfe is an incredibly average album, and I think I feel that way because the vocal performances are very lifeless to me, and also the lyrics are so vague that I can't really latch onto anything to actually connect with. Coming from someone who thinks Pop 2 is an 8, Charlie XCX is really fucking overrated. I'm sorry, Josh. Because the internet's production is fucking stellar. Clarence Clarity, yeah, I genuinely hate. Even getting past the shit vocals in his music, I feel like his production is just so obnoxious. It's always trying to come across as super, flashy and eccentric and weird, but it just always falls completely flat for me or just pisses me off, so yeah. Splendor and Misery is a near 10 out of 10, and Mid-City is much better than the self-titled by Clipping. The Death Heaven album from this year just gets worse and worse. I kind of wish I gave it a 5. I think I gave it a 6, but fuck. Destroyer has one of the most underrated discographies ever. Dirty Projectors are trash. Frank Ocean is very overrated. I don't think he ever made above a 7 out of 10, and that would go to Blonde. Godspeed You Black Emperor has yet to really click with me like that. Gorillaz are so overhyped it makes me want to throw up. I did hate Neo Wax Bloom when it came out. I've since come around to it a little bit, but that's mostly just because I appreciate what's happening technically. I would never just listen to it for fun. All James Blake's albums to me are above an 8. I might even raise that to an 8.5. J-Rock was never necessary on Top Dog. I like Everything's Fine, but in retrospect, there are moments that come across to me as kind of grossly self-righteous, you're not doing enough to contribute to the greater good of humanity by just existing if you're not heavily politically involved at all moments of your life. I don't really vibe with that. The more time passes, the more I dislike Singularity by John Hopkins. I really don't like Julian Baker as a songwriter or vocalist. Ye was really bad, 4 out of 10 bad. King Gizzard, stop it. I know I literally just reviewed it, but Be the Cowboy just gets worse and worse, honestly, and it really pisses me off how overhyped it was by critics. It's very hollow to me, it's lyrically pretty weak, and there's just nothing special about it besides a few highs. King Cruel is one of the most compelling songwriters and performers I've ever come across. You Guys Are Sleeping on Double Negative, the Low album that just dropped. Portishead over Massive Attack by Landslide. I don't give a single fuck about Migos or think that they have much of anything to offer to music, honestly. Also, looking back, none of Brockhampton's albums thus far have been that great, and I don't really have that much faith in them moving forward. I feel similarly about Travis Scott, despite still loving Rodeo. Modest Mouse has a near perfect discography. Under the Sun Kill Moon name, Mark Kozelek has yet to drop a truly great project. Room Inside the World is one of the most gorgeous albums of the year. I still think Dial-It is fucking average. Cardi's performances just are not that entertaining to me. Obviously, the lyricism isn't a factor, but there are like 3 good hooks on the whole thing, and the production is really all it has going for it. Beer Bongs and Bentleys was actually pretty sick. Sleep's Holy Mountain is a 5 out of 10, if I'm being generous. Age of Odds over Illinois is easily. 21 Pilots had some legitimately remarkable songwriting moments in their earlier days, and I still think Vessel is a 7 out of 10. Pinkerton fucking sucks. Of course I respect the Beatles' influence. I think I would be an idiot not to, but their music to me now just sounds so dated, I can't really enjoy it. Churches Were Never Good. Is This It by The Strokes is a 4 out of 10 to me. There's just no fucking life or pulse to the instrumentation at all. All the vocal compression sounds like shit. The songwriting gets old after like 3 songs, and it's just not hard for me to tell that there's barely any ideas within that album. Yeah, Now Only and Pure Comedy are perfect examples of how lyrics can save an album with boring instrumentals, like, completely. One Tricks Point Never has the best album art. I think emotion being a tangible factor to your art makes it about 1,000 times better 90% of the time. Songwriting is a crucial component to making so many records that would otherwise feel redundant stand out in their own way. And yeah, those are my hot takes. Yeah, feel free to comment if you strongly agree or disagree with any of those. I would love to hear about it. So Music Guy asks, favorite David Bowie album, favorite Bob Dylan album, favorite Death Grips song, favorite Kendrick album, and favorite Nirvana album. Favorite Bowie album is Low. Favorite Bob Dylan album is Blood on the Tracks. Favorite Nirvana album is In Utero. Favorite Kendrick album is To Pimp a Butterfly. Favorite Death Grips song is Beware, although On GP and No Love are close runners-up. Remy Anchor asks, what genres of music do you not listen to / review, and why? I'm genuinely not opposed to anything. I just review whatever I'm interested in. As of recently, I've been reviewing whatever is just the most relevant every week. That may change soon, but also my knowledge is pretty limited on punk, soul, funk, classical music. I also don't know a lot about grime at all, really. Moving on, Tobister asks, do you like fusion, soul, and funk albums? If so, which one is your favorite? Right, so like I said, my knowledge of both of these genres is pretty limited. I do assume you just mean albums that fall into both categories, but yeah, I've listened to like some obvious ones, like Funkadelic's Maggot Brain, What's Going On by Marvin Gaye, Superfly by Curtis Mayfield. I've listened to Stand and There's a Riot Going On by Sly and the Family Stone, pretty much just the ones you would expect. I've probably listened to a bit more neo-soul than that, though, and I think the album in that genre that's gotten the most replay out of me is Black Messiah by D'Angelo. It was almost my album of the year in 2014, but that ended up going to Pom Pom. They were like neck and neck, though. Yeah. Niels Reviews Music asks, I've got some questions. Okay. Which album do you think is underrated by a lot of critics and vice versa? Did Splendor and Misery get good critic reception? I think it did, but again, I think that album's like almost a 10. So, I'll go with that. What do you think of 2018 as a year for music? I don't think it's been bad, I guess. Like, obviously there have been a lot of great records that have come out this year, but I have been disappointed by a fair amount of, like, hyped up or just mainstream records, unfortunately. So, I don't know. If I were to rank, like, all of the years of the past decade from best to worst, it would probably fall in the middle to maybe, like, a little bit closer to the bottom. But yeah. What do you think of the state of the mainstream charts? I mean, I'm not going to discount them entirely. Of course, there's always going to be the occasional song or release I really like. I just think I'm more likely to find a greater quantity of music I like more elsewhere. So, yeah. Buffalo Staple asks, off the top of your head, name 10 perfect songs. Shout out to you, Buffalo Staple. Yeah, so, let's see. Farewell by Boris, True Believer by Clipping, Motion picture soundtrack, Bay of Pigs Detail by Destroyer, Levitation by Beach House, Midnight in a Perfect World by DJ Shadow, legitimately any song off of Replica by One Tricks Point Never. And I know you're thinking, like, Amy, just fucking choose one, but, like, no, you don't understand. Like, literally every single song off of that is flawless. So, yeah, how many has that been? Like, 5 or 6, I think. Earth Mover by Have a Nice Life. X-Tall by Aphex Twin. Yeah, is that good? Is that good enough? I'm just gonna go with that. Yeah, I mean, considering I just threw every song on Replica onto that list, I'm already over, right? But yeah. Oh, also Win by J-Rock, for sure. Tyler asks, favorite moment in a song where it made you go, yeah, I really love music. Wow, this question is fucking specific, and there have been a lot of those. Like, a lot. I mean, I know you're looking for a specific answer here, but I am gonna, like, I am gonna go vague here. Like, in terms of just album experiences, there have been moments that I've connected with specific like, entire albums because of the outside, just, like, situation I've been dealing with, which, honestly, I'll probably get into most of that once I start my visual art series. I don't know how personal I'll get, though, I guess. I guess, just off top, finding Without You I'm Nothing by Placebo, which happened actually pretty recently for me. I just fucking fell in love with it a lot in that moment, and also I was just kind of like, I was in a fight with my dad when I listened to it, and for some reason just all of that angst just came out at once, and it was like just this moment of clarity that I haven't felt in a long time, because I feel like that album is just so, I don't know, cathartic and fucking real, and I mean, it's not anything super flashy or anything like that, but I don't know, I just connected with it a lot in that moment, and it just felt like things kind of made sense again. Do you plan on making a video on your top 10, 20, whatever albums of all time? Yeah, like, the original plan was to do that when I hit 1K, but I didn't because I'm probably going to be reviewing a lot of my favorite albums in this art series that I'm starting soon anyway, so, like, it seems kind of redundant, you know, but I don't know, I would love to talk about that sometime, but, like, probably not, I guess, at this point. Maybe eventually, if I ever stop my visual art series for a little bit, or just, like, permanently or whatever, and I just need to update you guys on, like, some of my, you know, favorite records that I haven't covered or something, then I will, but I don't think so at this point. But if you want to know those albums, I'll just, like, throw a top tier chart I made pretty recently on the screen. Favorite and least favorite albums, Wizard asks. Right, my favorite album is either Introducing by DJ Shadow or Replica by One Tricks Point Never, and my least favorite album is All for a Cascade by Vale Smith. Oh gosh. John Pate asks, do you read / have you heard of the 33 1/3 book series? If so, what album would you write one about if you were given the chance to? Right, so I didn't prior to this, but I got curious and looked it up just for you. And that seemed really cool, honestly, and if I were to write an entire book about any album, it would probably be Replica by One Tricks Point Never. Honestly, I could talk about that forever. Like, seriously. Every single moment in that album is legitimately flawless to me. Harry TC asks, favorite film of all time? Listen. I've seen, like, 3 movies in my entire life. Not even kidding. I'm not a film person or movie person, and it's not even like that I'm, like, opposed to, like, watching films in general. I just never take the time to do so. I never have time. I haven't been friends with a lot of people who've been film junkies like that, so I just haven't really been exposed to many, and I also know, like, no actors. Like, legitimately 0 actors. Like, and like 0 movies. Like my knowledge in that is like close to nothing. So if you're ever like having a conversation with me about your favorite movies or favorite actors or like anything to do with that, just expect me to not contribute anything at all. Yeah, it's really weird, but of the movies I've seen, I really like Donnie Darko. I think it's incredibly thought-provoking, and there are a lot of like individual scenes in that I actually find I've actually connected with a fair amount. So yeah. But again, I don't know if it probably wouldn't continue to be my favorite if I had branched out and watched more movies. The Music Mannequin 28 asks, favorite albums of all time, favorite video game, favorite food, what album got you into music? Right. Favorite albums of all time, I already threw my tops around the screen. Those, although do add on to that, Boris at Last Feedbacker, Painful by Yo La Tango, and Dead Cities by The Future Sound of London, because I love all those albums, but I couldn't fit them in, so. Yeah. Favorite video game? Nah. I don't fucking play video games, dude, I'm sorry. I don't know what to tell you. Favorite food? God, this question's hard. How the fuck do people even answer this question? There's so many foods out there. And it just depends on the mood, right? But I guess fruit, like, you know, strawberries, I would say, are like a staple food that just wherever strawberries appear, like, you know, in desserts and smoothies, just straight chocolate covered strawberries, like they're legitimately always fantastic. They always hold up. They're just so good, man. So I'm gonna go with like strawberries or just like any kind of berry, I suppose. But yeah, almost all fruit is like just fucking great. Like God bless fruit. Let's see, where are we? What album got you into music? Right. So this might seem kind of weird and out of the blue, and it kind of is. But Carrie and Lowell by Sufjan Stevens. I got into music around the release of that, and it actually really caught me off guard how much I liked it in the beginning, which then led to me discovering more albums. Also To Pimp a Butterfly by Kendrick, which did take a little bit for me to get into, but I initially liked, so yeah. But yeah, in the beginning of my like music nerd career or whatever, I got into Sufjan Stevens and Beach House and Broken Social Scene all kind of at the same time at the very beginning. And yeah. Although it did take me a little while to like really appreciate those artists like that, because I think when everyone starts out, they're not as good at like pulling apart and like just noticing everything that an album has to offer like that, and I wasn't. So do you play any instruments? What album or artist do you consider overrated or underappreciated? Right, so I already answered the second question, but do I play any instruments? Sort of. I can play the guitar at like a solid intermediate level. Because I played all through high school and a little bit in middle school, but it was like on and off. And I did play my last year of college, but I have not touched my guitar. It's an electric guitar since like May of this year, because I didn't bring it to college because I asked my mom to bring it and she didn't bring the amp. And at that point it was like, well, fuck, that's gonna be really obnoxious. So yeah, I'm just gonna bring it up whenever I go home next, which will probably be at some point next month. This person, whose name I can't pronounce, I'm sorry, but thank you for your question, asks, do you have a favorite book, favorite movie, favorite painting? So I already answered the favorite movie thing. Favorite painting? No, not really, just because there are so many of them, and I can't choose a favorite. Do you have a favorite book, though? And Sam HG asks the same thing. Yeah, so I don't read much, honestly. This kind of same deal as with movies. However, we had to read this book junior year of high school that just surprisingly hit me, and it was called The Things They Carry by Tim O'Brien. It's a war story about a guy who gets drafted to fight in the war in Vietnam, and all of the individual anecdotes I found to be really thought-provoking within it. And there's a quote from it that I considered getting tattooed, but I have not done that yet. But yeah, I really fucking like it. Liam, the music reviewer, asks, who/what are your inspirations, both in terms of reviewing and your art? Can't believe the growth you've witnessed, 100% well-earned, congrats. Thank you, and shout out to you. And This Ramen Is My Girl, aka Josh, asks, who is the artist that has impacted your art the most, and what was your experience like when you saw their art in real life for the first time? Congrats. Thank you. So art-wise, in terms of big influential names, Jackson Pollock is the man. in terms of smaller artists that whose work I've picked up on over time, Maya Rochett and Jack Van Zett, and I still haven't seen Jackson Pollock's work in real life, but for the other two, I guess it was like just realizing that there are so many different ways that I could go with this, and I could be so much better than I am in a good way. Like, I have my entire life to improve and just experiment with shit, and there are so many solutions I could arrive at that would make me happy when I want to address, I guess, certain questions and concepts within art. And I guess just when I find art that I just perfectly connect with like that, and I think it's flawless, and it's like, it's flooring like that, it just fills me with like this overwhelming sense of just clarity, and shit just seems to make sense. I don't know, all of a sudden when I look at it, it's like, yeah, exactly, like, you get it, like, what the fuck, you know? And then in terms of music reviewing, right, so I strive to go into as much depth into an analysis of an album as Sean C. does, and I think Deep Cuts has influenced my language the most, and I think Fantano has influenced just the person I've become overall the most of any other reviewer. And also just how, like, I process life things. Music things as well, but yeah. Who is your favorite visual artist? Question mark asks, who is your favorite visual artist, and what do you consider to be good taste when it comes to music? I already answered the first, what do I consider to be good taste when it comes to music? I don't really think that that's my place to say, honestly. I think you can justify almost any opinion, as long as you approach it in the right way. I think just think for yourself and know why you feel that way when you develop an opinion on an album or a song or an artist or anything like that. Charles Young asks, do you make music or create any other kind of art? Yes, sir. I don't really make music, but I do create art, like I said, and yeah, most of it is based on music. Biopath, shout out to you, asks, as a visual artist, do you ever find yourself relating a piece of music or a particular musician or genre with the project you're working on? Do they coexist together? Yes, of course. That's all I do. Come on. Yeah. Music is, like, just the most fucking inspiring thing in the world to me, so yes, I do try to make, almost everything I make is connected to music in some way or another, even the earlier shit that I used to make that doesn't obviously connect to anything like that. I had a genre or, like, an artist or just something in mind that goes with it, and I think just the fact that there are always so many reasons why one of my favorite albums or songs becomes one of my favorite albums or songs, and getting to the root of why that's the case is just more than enough inspiration to create a piece of art based on. So yeah. When listening to music that features vinyl crackling via DJ Shadow, Burial, The Caretaker, what kind of emotional response is accumulated within yourself? Does this aesthetic, do you guys know that aesthetic is actually pronounced aesthetic? Things you learn going to art school. Like, that sounds so fucking awkward. Like, aesthetic? There's an H there, but it's silent. What the fuck? Anyway, does this aesthetic even evoke anything out of you? Personally, I find it somewhat hauntological. I would agree with you that it is quite hauntological when used tastefully and when it makes sense, like in all of the cases that you mentioned, for sure. Rick the Lie asks, have you ever considered making music of your own? Would you? Shout out to you. Also, like, congratulations for real. Thank you so much. Yes, I would, and I do, a lot. I just got Logic, actually. I didn't pay for it. I got it for free from my boy Buffalo Staple. And I was gonna do this thing where, like, every night I just started to figure the platform out, slowly but surely, and just, I don't know, just accept the fact that I'm gonna suck for a really long time until I eventually don't suck anymore. But I haven't really worked on it at all. Like, I haven't looked into that much yet, and I think it's because I have so much else that I have to be doing right now. But yeah, it is still a thing in the back of my head a lot that, like, in 10 years I would love to just be able to make good music, you know? Like, but I don't really know if that's what I'm ultimately working towards or not. And I've never really thought about specifically what kind of music I would want to make, which is kind of funny, but yes, and I wish I could. I wish I had the time. But yeah, maybe I'll take a course at some point and just try to figure it out in that way, because I've heard that doing it through tutorials is kind of inefficient, but let me know. But yeah, I would love to learn to like produce, honestly. Dan Vixen asks, what are some of your favorite album covers of all time? So I have a list here because I would probably forget, and there are a lot of them. I did say any one of Trace Point Never, but definitely, especially Garden of Delete. I freaking love that thing. I actually really like the Selected Ambient Works Volume 2 cover as well, and the fact that each section of it represents one of the songs, and I just think it's really beautiful. I really love Substrata, Painful, Vespertine, Loveless, The Earth is Not a Cold Dead Place, Los Angeles, Pause, F Sharp, A Sharp Infinity, To Pimp a Butterfly, both of King Cruel's, Hybrid Noise Bloom, Year Zero, First Opus, Just for a Day, and Kanoyo. So yeah. My Name is My Name asks, favorite punk band and why, favorite rapper and why, favorite album cover and why, who's your go-to singer-songwriter? Personally, it's Nick Cave for me, but I know a lot of people are super invested in Tom Waits, Sufjan, or Kate Bush. Interesting to know who your main is. Right, favorite punk band. I don't know a lot about punk, like I said, but from what I do know, Dead Kennedys, I think they have everything that you could want in a punk band, from the social issues that they cover in their lyricism, to the raw energy, to the ability to make a varied and enjoyable album experience that's exciting the whole way through. So yeah. Let's see, favorite rapper and why. I think in terms of my favorite, I wouldn't say that he's the most technically skilled in terms of like lyricism, but Mos Def, honestly. I think he's a very humble, introspective MC that I personally connect with a lot. He has a great voice. He has a lyrical ability. He has the flows. Yeah, I would say him. Favorite album cover and why? Kind of already said. Also, who's your go-to singer-songwriter? Dan Behar, dude. Noah asks, can you tell the public as to why Playboi Carti Die Lit is one of the best trap records of the decade? Because the standards for trap are astronomically low. NASA1722 asks, thoughts on Radiohead and favorite Radiohead album? Favorite Radiohead album is Kid A, definitely. And I think Radiohead at their best have some really gorgeous and emotionally powerful moments, some great experimental highs. However, I do think that they are a bit overrated, kind of boring at their worst. And they have a lot of records that are quite overhyped, I think, like any of these. So, yeah. Not Real Music. Who is the most handsome music reviewer and why is it me? Ryan, you already know the answer to this. It's because of the beard. Like, you don't even need to ask this question. Come on. Like, what are some of your favorite pop songs of the decade? I assume you mean like big mainstream, like chart toppers and things like that. In which case, probably like Run Away With Me by Carly Rae Jepsen. Let's see, 24 Karat Magic by Bruno Mars, Slide by Calvin Harris, Mirrors by JT. I know it wasn't like one of the singles, but off Pure Heroin, but Ribs by Lorde is just such a good song. Passion Fruit by Drake. I actually really like Blank Space by Taylor Swift, kind of a guilty pleasure, but it's there. Yeah, The Way and or Into You by Ariana Grande. So yeah, I think that's probably enough. And one critically acclaimed album that you completely dislike from any decade. Already kind of answered this, but my go-to answer is This It by The Strokes. And thank you, Ryan, for your question. Shout out to you. You're the best. Will asks, are there any reviews you have made that are your favorite? Do you have any favorites from other reviewers in the community? Congrats on the come up. Thank you. Let's see, my favorite review I've ever done is my Eve's Tumor review. And my favorites from some others in the community, let's see. For David Rowe, I would say the unreviewed albums #1 video. That thing was fucking incredible. Oh my goodness, one of the best videos I've ever seen on YouTube, honestly. For Liam, I would say his album covers video. For Ryan, any of his like discussion-based videos I find to be really nice and thought-provoking. Buffalo Staple, the 12-hour Corey Feldman video, hands down. Ricky. Legitimately, any and every review he's ever made is so fucking enjoyable to watch. Like, just go subscribe to Rick the Lie. He should be at 1K. Like, what the fuck? He's such a good fucking reviewer. Like, I always have such a good time watching any of his reviews. Like, the visual elements to his reviews are fucking great. He has a sense of humor, the personality, he has the knowledge, like, he has everything. But, yeah, the Pale Waves review he just did was pretty funny. Made me giggle, so, yeah. Javi Puff 5150. What are your favorite music genres? Also, any music genres you don't really care for. Favorite genres? I guess IDM, art pop, ambient. You could throw in like krautrock too. And then any music genres you don't really care for. I'm not that into trap rap or indie rock in general, but it's really just because of the oversaturation of mediocre releases in those genres. Of course, there are still great records in both, so yeah, I'm not completely opposed to anything, like I said. X5DGR asks, do you browse Mew or 4chan in general? Your favorite music genre? No, I'd honestly never been on Mew until you guys made that thread about me. By the way, thanks for the sub boost, really appreciate it. Favorite music genre? Yeah, I already answered that. Ambient, IDM, art pop, and krautrock. Congrats on 1K, and let's hope you get to collab with Melon Boy someday. That would be pretty lit. Hit me up, Anthony. I'm always here. Nick Mosk says, congrats. What non-active artist do you wish you could have seen live? Who is your favorite songwriter of all time? What non-active artist do I wish I could have seen live? The Dillinger Escape Plan, easily. And who's your favorite songwriter of all time? Dan Behar. James Bones asks, what are your top 3 Japanese artists? Boris, Nujabes, and probably Fishmans and or Melt Banana, although I did just start listening to Melt Banana, so I don't really think I could put them in, but holy shit, they have some cool fucking material. Talking Techno asks, what is your earliest experience from music from what you remember? Do you remember? Like, I don't remember, honestly. I have no fucking idea. My earliest experience... Yeah, I'm sorry, but I have no clue. Which kind of goes hand in hand with the fact that Heeb's Boy asked, what are some artists that your parents introduced you to that you still like today? I'm not even fucking kidding when I say no artists. Like, my parents really aren't into music at all like that. Obviously, like, okay, they both make playlists that are pretty much made up of just, like, I guess very, like, mainstream, like, chart toppers from the 80s, so, like, songs like Africa by Toto, or, like, I don't know, fucking Wake Me Up Before You Go-Go, or, like, Jesse's Girl, you know, those songs that, like, literally fucking everyone has heard, so various 80s songs. They're both pretty into the Beatles, so I guess you could say the Beatles is, like, the most logical answer to that. But yeah, their music taste now is just shit, pretty much, like, just the worst of top 20 on the radio, so it's kind of a shame. But yeah, literally, like, I pretty much did this all myself, and I'm not just, like, trying to, like, give myself more credit by saying that. I just legitimately mean that, like, yo, my parents did not help. They did not introduce me to shit. Aaron Weistrich, good. Gabriel De Assis asks, do you take vitamin supplements? I do not. Does that mean that my health is about to, like, rapidly decline? You want to help me and just, like, hit me up with some vitamins? That would be helpful. I'll send you my... Just hit me up in the DMs, okay? And, if you want to hook me up with those vitamin supplements, I would really appreciate it. And so would my arteries. Rybatuga asks, I would love to know what was your favorite subject as a kid, like school subject? I really liked English when I first started school, and then in high school I started to fucking hate it, and I tended towards history a little bit more, at least in the later days of my high school career. But seriously, I was a shit student and still kind of am. Do you like Franz Ferdinand? Yeah, I think their debut is pretty cool. Even though none of their material is that technically impressive, I think they have a knack for writing a really good and instantly catchy chorus. So, also, do you want to form a band with me? Like, I don't know what I would do. I mean, I could just sit there and, like, talk about music in the background while you play music. Is that, like, what you want? Because I could totally do that, but I think I would choke if I ever tried to, like, play the guitar in front of people. And just suddenly my hands wouldn't work anymore. So yeah, I avoid that. Irishman Rants asks, eating sugar, telling lies. I assume this is a meme that I'm not familiar with, and I'm sorry I'm not familiar with it. I don't know if I've just been, like, fucking living under a rock, or if I'm, like, subhuman for not being familiar with this one, but sorry, dude. I don't know. Old Drewpile asks, hey, very new sub here. I'm so glad that I found this channel, because you seem like such a chill person. Thank you. Appreciate it. Anyways, what's your favorite Animal Collective album, and what are your thoughts on the band overall? Also, do you like Merzbow? Right, so my favorite Animal Collective album is Spirit They're Gone, and my thoughts on the band overall, I really like them. I think they're a really versatile group. I really like the fact that they try new stuff out all the time, and they succeed at so much of it. Like, such a great quantity of their discography ended up, like, being successful. Like, Feels, Sung Tongs, Meriwether, Strawberry Jam, they just have so many fucking great records. And of course there were a few that kind of fell flat for me. I don't know, like Tangerine Reef, Painting With, I'm not a huge fan of Here Comes the Indian. I like Centipede Hurts though, actually. So yeah, you know, like, yeah, I really like Animal Collective. And do I like Merzbow? Yeah, overall, I do like what I've heard of Merzbow, but I think that's just because, like, I went into it expecting it to be fucking weird as shit and hard to wrap my head around, so I just think you have to, like, approach that type of music if you're not already familiar with it with, like, I guess that mindset, you know? Like, you just have to be up for the challenge, and ready to appreciate it for what it is. But yeah, I don't think I would ever, like, review a Merzbow album. But I do really like Hybrid Noise Bloom, like, a lot. J Mad asks, why are you so cute? Thank you. So are you, man. So are you. Dare Jones asks, do you play music, work in a music store? No, and I almost got the hookup for a record store job last year, and then the dude took it back at the last second when I showed up for work my first day. Not bitter or anything, though. Fuck you, Norman. Fucking dick. Billy Owen Gaming asks, ever listen to that artist / know who he is? No, and should I look them up? Let me know in the comments below. Fishy MM asks, are you aware that you were heavily recommended on 4chan's music for having good opinions and critiques? Motherfuckers, fuckfuckers asks, what headphones do you use, or do you listen to music with speakers? I lost my old headphones. I kind of want a new pair for Christmas, but I also kind of want to go to the UK next summer and save for that, so give and take. I don't really know what to do. So yeah, sadly, I just use earbuds and or speakers, but I try to tend towards earbuds because my speakers are trash. David Rowe asks, what lesser-known / underground artists today do you think represent what popular music will sound like in the future? This is a tough question, and I don't know if it's just based on where I am geographically and who I, like, am surrounded by, but I feel like industrial and or, like, experimental hip-hop is kind of starting to get a little bit bigger with artists like JPEG Mafia and Death Grips and Clipping and such, but yeah, I don't think it would be too far off to say that maybe at some point in the future mainstream artists would take at least light influence from artists like that. Where am I? Licky My Sticky asks, what would be your contender for album of the year so far? Damn it, just watch my reviews. No, it's okay. Safe in the Hands of Love by Eve's Tumor, and I'm sorry for giving it away for anyone who wanted that to be a surprise, but I doubt anyone really gives that much of a fuck. Catalin Chris asks, why don't you rate the albums that you review from 1 to 10, for instance, or make your own grading system? I really enjoy your reviews, by the way. Love from Romania. I do, dude. I just don't put it in the description. Do you want me to? Like, I could. But I kind of like what I have going with the description where I just literally type some random shit out that's on my mind. I feel like it's kind of funny. I don't know. But yeah, like, I guess you could just, if you don't want to watch my reviews, you could just skip to the end and see what I rated it. Low Quality Posts asks, one album that you wish you had been around when it first came out. Definitely Homogenic by Bjork. How do you like your toast? Charred. Just fucking charred. Congrats in advance for hitting 1K. You deserve it so much. Thank you so much, Jack. Elio Carranza asks, been to any festivals, concerts? And Nuno Santos asks, do you usually attend concerts? What's been your fave so far? Yes, I've been to a lot of festivals and concerts, but I used to go to them a lot more in high school, and I don't much anymore. There are a few reasons for that. I have gotten a bit burnt out on them. They take a lot out of me, just like physically, and I don't know, I don't have a lot of money either, and I live in New York, so it's kind of like, living here is really expensive, so that kind of takes away from my opportunities to go see artists that I would like to. But yes, I have been to many festivals and concerts, but over time I've just started to, I guess, get a little bit fed up, especially with big festivals, because there's just so many fucking annoying people at those big festivals. But I would go to one if there was an artist that I just like really was dying to see. And I lost my place in this. Fuck, why does this keep happening? What's been your fave so far? It's a three-way tie between Tribe Called Quest, Death Grips, and JPEG Mafia. A Tribe Called Quest was at Pitchfork in 2017. And, I mean, it was just fucking incredible. Like, how could you not enjoy a show like that? Like, I'm so blessed that I got to see them. Yeah, just pure euphoria the whole time. Death Grips was last year as well, and oh my fucking god, it was very similar. It pretty much resembled, like, a hardcore show in terms of just, like, moshing, but I got super into it. It was so crazy. It was like fucking tripping on drugs, even being completely sober. God, it was even incredibly empowering just to be in a room like that and just belt out the lyrics to some of those songs. It was so good. JPEG Mafia was this year, and it was at NYU in a tiny classroom, and the crowd was like 2 feet away from his face. There was really no stage. He was just in the center the entire time, and it was just fucking insane. Every single person in that room just lost their minds, and it was extremely cathartic and just fucking incredible, and I think that every show should have that level of energy from both the crowd and the performer. So yeah. Fuck, where was I? This keeps, okay. And which band would you like to see live but haven't had the chance yet? Many artists, but I would love to see Bjork. I haven't seen Bjork yet. Destroyer and 9 Inch Nails. I've been meaning to see 9 Inch Nails for so long, but I've never had the chance. So yeah. Favorite Wu-Tang solo album? Liquid Swords. Pyotrek asks, have you ever listened to Tom York's solo stuff? If so, how do you like it? I've heard The Eraser, and I think at its best, it's stunningly beautiful, and at its worst, it's just a little bit boring and forgettable. So, what else does he have out? Am I missing, like, something big that I should have checked out by now? I don't know. Roy Dankstar asks, what do you think are the best ways for someone to broaden their musical tastes? I think the best way to do that is just to understand the wide scope of music in the first place. I think the reason why a lot of people don't try to branch out is because they just don't understand how many possibilities there are out there within music. But to the people who do and just don't try, like, I don't know, like, aren't you curious? I feel like if you really love music, you want to cover as much ground as possible, like, you're curious, you want to know about the history of it. At least that's how I am. I just think if you really want it, it will happen naturally pretty easily over time. So, yeah, just try to expose yourself to shit you're not familiar with, you know? Like, I love to do that, so I don't really know what to tell you if you don't. Young Jean asks, favorite anime? I don't really watch anime, I'm sorry. Would you agree with me when I say Tupac is hella overrated nowadays? Maybe a little bit, but I wouldn't dwell on it. I think Tupac was a really good storyteller, and he knew how to appeal to a wide range of people. in a way. And of course, yes, now there are, like by today's standards, there are rappers with more technical skill we could be paying more attention to, and we should. But I don't know, I think Tupac's music kind of sounds endearingly dated, if that makes sense. And he was perfectly fine for his time, so. You have to stop listening to music except for one genre. Which one would you choose? Can we get, like, super broad on this one? Because, like, I would say, like, pop or electronic, if we can. I'll go with electronic. Parker Sanchez asks, if you were an animal, which one would you be? I don't know, probably cat, because they're, like, just always pissed off and never want to do shit. Stefan, it's Stefan, right? Let me know. Jones asks, congrats, Amy. Thank you. Are you a scruncher or a folder? God damn it, man. I mean, I had to get this question, right? I mean, like, what else would you ask? I guess a folder, like, who the fuck scrunches toilet paper? Nah, just nah. Sorry about the lighting switch. I just had to charge my camera and it's getting kind of late, so it happens. But yeah, St. Jasper asks, how much do lyrics mean to you? Do you read the lyrics right away on the first listen of the album, or listen first then decide whether to read or not, and can you think of some of your favorite lyrics? If I know I have to be reviewing an album, I will read the lyrics right away. Just in general, for every album I listen to, I want to at least know the topics or themes that they're going for. I'll try to listen as much as possible with the music, but I'll only look into specific details of lyrics if I really like the way an album sounds. And then, can you think of some of your favorite lyrics? That's really hard to think of off top. If you're cool with it, I'll just throw some on screen here. These are some of my favorites ever. Crocs Cult, aka my roommate Zoe, asks, hey Amy, what are your thoughts on Gru from Despicable Me? He ruined my life at home. Reba, she's a queen. Puppies, not as cool as kittens, honestly. Ice Chais, listen, okay. If you're making an iced chai, and you do, like, half chai, half milk, what the fuck is your problem? Like, that's gonna give the person diabetes. Like, what are you trying to do? Are you trying to kill them? Nah. I've had one too many experiences with this in my college cafeteria, dude. Nah. Just let me fucking make the chai. Literally just put, like, maybe this much chai in, and the rest is milk. Like, bro, that's like 3 sodas in a drink. I don't know if that's actually true. I obviously have not done measurements or anything like that for this, but like, oh my god, like, bro, what the fuck are you doing? Like, that's the easiest drink to make if you work in a coffee shop, right? Or if you make coffee drinks regularly. Just give me a fucking normal ass iced chai. Now I have to walk to fucking Starbucks. Damn it, Chris, what are you doing? Brooklyn as a whole. Yeah, okay. It might even be I was gonna say my least favorite borough, but I don't feel that way anymore. I feel a sentimental attachment to Brooklyn now that I have lived there. You know, it doesn't have the same condensed excitement as Manhattan does, and it doesn't have the same suburban feel that Queens does that I really dig. But Brooklyn's cool. There are a lot of cool aspects to Brooklyn, I suppose. So yeah, I guess I appreciate every part of New York just for what it is. How do you feel about Brooklyn? Let me know. Come into my room right now and tell me. Eclectic Nick asks, so proud of you. Are you into hardcore/punk? Have you ever listened to albums such as Fury, Paramount, or the newly released Candy, Good to Feel on Triple B Records? There's some thoughtful, excellent punk on that label. I enjoy punk, but as I said, I haven't delved very deeply into the genre yet. I am planning on doing it at some point. However, if you want me to check out that label, then I'll check out that label. So yeah. Gino asks, when you put LMAO on the title of this video, were you actually laughing your ass off? If so, why? I've been caught red-handed, guys. I was not actually laughing my ass off. My ass is very much still attached to my body. I don't know why I did it. Feel free to unsub here. I'm just straight up a fraud. Like, I guess I just thought that the title looked a little too empty without it, you know? But I understand if you need to leave here. LG asks, do you allow yourself to like music that was made by a degenerate, rapist, killer, misogynist, racist, etc.? I am a supporter of separating the art from the artist. I think a really easy, simple way to just solve this for everyone is to just pirate the music if you know that the artist is a shit person, but no, like, I don't think if you like music made by a shitty person, if it doesn't correlate with those values that they have, like, that you're necessarily a bad person for enjoying it. But yeah, seriously, just pirate it. It like solves the entire problem. Luis Pablo asks, what are some albums that make you break up and cry? And also, do you enjoy noise music and its subgenres? Have a nice day. Thank you, you too. What albums make me break up and cry? Many, many albums. I think a ton of the albums that are my favorite albums are my favorite albums because they kind of appeal to the very vulnerable parts of me, such as the pain that I deal with. So a ton of my favorite albums do this. Just off top, some great examples are Spirit They've Gone, Spirit They've Vanished, The Disintegration Loops, and Death Consciousness, all for their own specific, very specific reasons. I do really enjoy noise as a genre, yes, but again, just know what you're getting into with it. But yes, I do enjoy it, and I think it's really thought-provoking and just a cool experience that everyone should have. And it's subgenres. Yeah, if you're going to incorporate noise into your music in a way that's still, like, tasteful, yes, absolutely fucking do it. I'm all here for that. Afonso Carmo asks, did I create 3 accounts to get you to 1K subs? I think you did, and thank you so much. Jake Mongan asks, do you suffer from mesothelioma? If you or a loved one has been diagnosed with mesothelioma, you may be entitled to financial compensation. Yeah, all my life I've suffered from that, so hit me up with the financial compensation. What do you value more when listening to music? The songcraft, melody, harmony, songwriting, or is element/feeling, instruments, texture, atmosphere? It's element/feeling, honestly, are more personally important to me. And yeah, I do really enjoy, I think it's important to have a technical understanding of what's happening in music, yes, of course. But yeah, I would be lying if I said that was more important to me than, like, just the general feelings I get when listening to music. Like, I listen to music with my heart, bro. It's an emotional experience. But yeah, that's my Q&A. I don't know how long this video is about to be. Like an hour or something? Something fucking wild like that. But thank you so much if you watched the whole thing. I don't know why you did, if you did, but thank you so much for subscribing to my channel. I'm sorry that this took me so long to get out. And I'll be back next week with a new video, probably art related, unless I decide to review the Open Mic Eagle EP, would probably be what I would do. So yeah, thank you so much. And yeah, I'm excited to see where my channel evolves from here, and feel free to send me some underground electronic albums as always, and I'll listen to them. And yeah, I love you. Bye.